So obviously building a big ass structure is kind of out of the question for a tutorial style video. There's another creeper, but I'm going to build a shack sized thing, but the same building principles apply to any size structure. You just have to scale it up or down. Alright, so here is what I will start with. I will start with just making a cobble box. That is the most prominent noob structure you can find on any server. People don't have time or they don't know what to do to make a house that looks nice. And cobble is a very readily available substance. It looks like Mr. Yates has rage quit. Just make it some random size. And we'll make it 3 high. That's generally what you get. Some people make their cobble boxes 4 or 5 high or something. Feels a little bit more roomy inside, which I grant is a little bit better than nothing. But we are going to go for the bottom of the barrel. Horrible, horrible starting structure that no one should want to live in. We put torches in random places. That's a little bit too random. Okay. So this is something you'll see on pretty much any server at least once or twice. Somebody's desperate to build a house real quick. Oh look, he didn't rage. And they will just toss together something made of cobble. Usually they'll end up getting a door at some point, if not already by this point, but door is not important for this particular part. Now what you'll notice is several things. A, it's all made of one material. B, it is a boring box shape, which isn't always bad, but generally it is. C, the floor is made of grass because they were too lazy. D, the floor and the walls are the same material. And E, there is really crappy lighting, and furnishings would probably be like furnace and workbench, and then they might have a chest here, so we'll illustrate that with these. And that's pretty much what they'd have, just in a random row or whatever. Now, this is cramped, it's small, the roof's right in your face. It does do its job, but it does so poorly, and it does so in a very ugly way. Now, obviously you can live out of this, and this works good as a temporary shelter, but some people end up living out of cardboard boxes, yeah, cobble boxes. Might as well be a cardboard box, it's the equivalent for Minecraft. They are ganging up on me here. Anyway, they will live in these things for quite a while because they're too lazy or really just do not understand how to build nicer things. So I'm going to illustrate some principles, or I'll put some of this back, that you can use to improve something that's even this bad with almost no effort at all. Alright, now as you might have noticed by now, or maybe not during all that chaos, I removed the middle layer of the house. The key to making any good structure in Minecraft or in real life is one simple word: contrast. Now, other people might have different philosophies to making a house, both in Minecraft and in real life, but what I'm teaching you is mine, and in my world, that is the most important thing. Contrast. If you don't have contrast, your house looks ugly. Period. That is just how it is, regardless of the shape or intricacy or nice materials. If it has no contrast, it will be bad. So what we're going to do is cheaply add some contrast to this crappy little cobble shack, and then show how much of a difference that makes. I think I'll actually put a door on it this time. Now look at this. I did absolutely nothing to this shack except change one level of it from cobble to wood. Instantaneously it becomes a somewhat respectable structure. It looks like there's a foundation and a heavy-set roof and then a normal wooden wall in the middle. And if you walk inside, it's got the same effect. There's this contrast between the ceiling and the wall and the foundation. Now, the floor is still grass, but in an ideal world, you'd also have a different material here. But this is just to show you how simple, like one little change, can drastically change the house. Now, we're going to address different problems with this house. Now that we've got a little bit of contrast going on, The next most obvious problem is that the roof is like right in your face. So we are gonna get rid of the roof and then change it a little bit to get rid of that. Okay, so now we have no roof. So what do we got here? We've got cobble and we've got wood. And that is all we really need. So we're going to keep using it. And yes, I have these bricks, but they are not part of this example. I'll grab a little bit of dirt to use as some stairs here. Dirt is also useful for stairs and for scaffolding. You can, for example, what I'm going to do here is if you place a piece of dirt, you can then place blocks over a gap and then remove the dirt. Pretty simple trick, but you'd be surprised how many people are not aware of that. Oops. Misplace. So what I'm doing here is I'm putting an inset roof, which is exactly the same as a normal roof, except it ends one block before the end of the wall. Now, the other thing you might notice is that this is one block above. The original roof was set at the same level as the wall, and the walls were part of the roof. In this one, I basically just raised the middle panels, all except for the parts that were part of the wall, by one block. Simple as that. Exact same materials, exact same number of materials. Oops. Lol. Fail. And that's, guys, why you don't walk backwards next to a giant gaping hole. As you can notice already, it has changed the outside a little bit, made it look a little bit less boring, but that is not the important part. The important part is on the inside. Remember how cramped it looked before? Now it looks pretty damn open. There's still no contrast between the roof and this upper piece of wall. Still a lot of cobble going on, but it is a drastic improvement. Now you've got enough room to even jump inside, and you have not changed the amount of blocks that this house is made of, both for this and for the roof. All that we did was change a material to something else that's easy to get, and raise the cobble roof. So if the person who made the theoretical cobble shack in the beginning had been aware of some of these concepts, they could have built a pretty decent shack like this in the exact same amount of time, exact same amount of effort, and they would have had a nicer house with more room, and it would have been more aesthetically appealing to them and others. But we're not done here. We are going to do more. So, cobblestone is generally a pretty ugly thing to use in a house. Now, there are three cases where I approve of it. One is as a floor. It looks really good as a floor in a lot of cases. Cobblestone is a traditional floor sort of thing, kind of looks like modern floor tiles or old-fashioned proper stone floors or roads, etc. Another use is in walls, like it is here, as a contrast material, and in this particular case as a foundation as well. Foundation is a type of contrast material because obviously in Minecraft there are no physics. You don't actually need a heavy foundation, but it looks proper and correct to have one. And it also looks good when it's made of cobble, because old-fashioned English and other European architectures often used cobblestone for that. Now, the third case is a little bit more advanced, and that is as a contrast material. Now, I've done that in my house, as you might notice. This works especially well with smooth stone, using it as like the bottom and top of a pillar like I have here, and using it as my foundation, and using it as a cap so that it's symmetrical with the foundation. However, I've used a lot of materials, so the cobble does not stay as pronounced as it did up there. Alright, back to the test house. Now we are going to continue our theme of cobble and wood throughout this particular house project, because we are going with all nub materials, stuff that somebody can get with like wooden tools or no tools. And these are the two easiest things to get. You can also get logs, but it takes more effort to get logs, because obviously for every log you gather you could have had 4 planks, so a nub is less likely to want to do that. And some of the idea here is to get people who aren't that good at building to at least build something decent without having to expend a lot of resources in doing it. And I believe that hopefully educating is all that that'll take, but I could be wrong. Alright, so next what we're going to do is, this roof looks a little bit weird. It's got like a thing sitting on top of it, like a slab sticking out. Doesn't look bad. Looks a little bit better than a flat box, I think, or else maybe equivalent, but it doesn't look good either. Now, there's a lot of different things you could do here to contrast it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the corners, first off. Now, something you could do is remove the corners from this one too, and then put something like half blocks there, but that's not the solution that I've thought of. Get my wood out, and we're just going to replace the top corners with more wood. And that is all. It's simple as that. And poof, we have created yet more contrast. Now, you might notice that this is kind of like a pattern. It's like the wood is the framing and the cobble is the wall. Now you could continue with that and do the bottom, but I've got a different thing going on in my head for this. What I'm going to do, and you might notice that I do not plan a damn thing as I go along building. Now, that works for me, but sometimes people need to plan their things out beforehand. It's just not what I do. What I'm going to do is I'm going to stick these on top of those, raising it one more block, which means 4 more blocks added to the material of the house. Not very expensive. And now when you look at it, it looks really nice. Now, you're probably asking yourself, why does that look so much better? All you did was add 4 blocks and change 4 blocks. Now let me explain that. 2 reasons, contrast and depth. Depth is another important concept that you need to worry about, and it's really part of contrast, but it applies in different ways. And it's also a cheaper effect to achieve than contrast can be, because contrast requires different materials, while depth is like fake contrast. It can even be done with the same material. The further away cobble is darker than the close cobble, for example. Alright, so we've got our wood ring around the middle, and these extend upward from it. That creates the illusion that this is all a big piece of wood, and that the cobble is being rested on top of this frame, and that the frame is resting on top of the foundation. It looks like a solid structure. The door is set next to wood, which blends it in, at least in my texture pack. In a normal texture pack, it doesn't matter as much, but lots of texture packs use the same texture. Just gotta work with what your texture pack looks like, and also, you should always keep in mind that not everyone's using the same texture pack as you. Now, with my particular texture pack, I keep it somewhat close to the original. Not everything is exactly the same. Like the doors match the wood. That does not happen in original, but you know, there's always going to be a little bit of difference, but it's pretty close to the original. I even use some of the textures with slight recolors like the cobble. Alright, that said, now let's look at this from up close. We've got a block and 2 missing blocks and then the roof. And it does not look very good from up here, but that is not important. No one's going to be standing on your roof inspecting it like I am right now. At least nobody normal that you should care about. Now, at night you might decide to put torches on these, on the top. I do not have any right now, or I would do that. As you move further away from the block, it creates depth between this block and this block. And when you're on ground level, you can see that the line goes up and then keeps going parallel. Now, I don't know what to call that, but it creates a nice depth effect that makes the corners of the structure look more imposing and strong, and that is why this looks more solid. Also, the depth between this and this is creating a more solid look because it looks like you've got layers going on. Now, you did before too, but now that there's blocks on the sides, it just changed the shading of the back one to be darker. And simple as that, you've got a lot better of a house. Now, we are done with the top for now, because this is a pretty simple shack we're working on. But how can we improve it more? Well, on the inside, we could use a floor that's not made of grass. Now, being only cobble and wood that we're working with, we've got 2 choices, cobble and wood. Now, our ceiling is cobble, and to change the contrast on the outside would not be the best idea. You could change the middle of the ceiling if you so chose. I mean, besides these layers that are on the outside, you could change this middle area. And in some cases, that might be nice. A slightly less nubby house might have glass there for a sunroof, for example. But anyway, since in this particular house we've got a stone roof for now, we are going to make the floor the opposite. And we are going to shove blocks everywhere because that is totally what I meant to do. Not. So first thing I'm going to do is place the door back, which is just good practice because I do not want something walking in here and blowing me up. Alright. Tear up the floor here. I'm not going to talk while I do this because it's one of the loudest sounds in the game and it might drown me out. Alright. So now we've got a stripped floor. Don't have to worry about what's under there. It is completely irrelevant. Just going to slap the floor down. Going to make it out of wood now. So you just put wood down. Nothing to it. Simple as that. Poof. Now, if you approach the house, go inside. Immediately just looking through the door slot, you see contrast. And then you walk in. If you can walk in, I was derping. You see contrast between the foundation layer and the floor, even as far up as the doorway, and you see contrast between the floor and the ceiling. And overall this creates a really nice look. It makes the floor darker and then the walls slightly less dark and then the ceiling bright. And that is contrast, guys. That is important. And as you can see, this looks pretty damn nice. This shack is the exact same size it was before. I added not that many blocks. The biggest addition was the floor. And the floor is not that expensive. 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks. That is 20 blocks of wood, plus 1 for over here, plus 4 from the top, which is 25. So I added 25 blocks to this house, which you can get by cutting down 24, I don't want to do math. I think it's 6 times something, fuck math. I can do math, I'm not retarded, but I cannot think while commentating. That is not something I can do that well. So you guys math that for yourself. Point is, it does not take that many trees to get 25 blocks of wood, and it doesn't take that many to do another row of wood here either. And also, even without this row, this is still a drastic improvement on the top end down here. So, house is a lot better. A lot better. So what we're going to do now is progress. First thing we're going to do is I'm going to get some proper workstations to put in there, because we're getting to the point where the inside... Shut the fuck up, cows. We're getting to the point where the inside is actually relevant, because the outside and the inside both look decent. Alright, so next thing we're going to do is we're going to place down some stuff. Now, there's two different strategies to placing down your stuff, right? There is putting the stuff in a cluster, or three strategies. Putting all the stuff in a cluster and keeping it away from one of the wall sets. Like I could put things here, here, and here, and then nothing here, nothing here. Keeps things spaced, keeps things open. Another of the strategies is to keep things towards these walls and away from the middle. So I could put things up against these walls, or combine the two strategies, put things here and here, but not here, not here, and not along this. Or you can inset them into the walls. Now that works best when you're in a cave or something. Otherwise you'd have to add another wall on the outside. Otherwise you'll see the workbench and whatever through the wall. Now another thing you can do, and this is something I did in my house. I'm not going to keep this here because it won't work out well, but you can stick your workbench inlaid into the floor. Works fine, looks pretty good, saves some space. Alright, so I think the method that would go best with this particular house is to put 3 in the center right there, because it's kind of like a focus as you walk into the house. It's a pretty small house, so lining things up on the sides would seem kind of overkill. We're not going to have that many things here anyway. So we're going to have a furnace, a chest, and a workbench. 2 brown things and 1 gray thing. So in order to make it so that it's not clustered one way or the other, I'm going to put the brown crap on the sides, and we're going to put the gray crap in the middle. So I'm going to make a furnace. Blam. And we are going to spend some of our woods and make a chest. Chuck Chester. Troll. Alright, so as you can see, contrast preserved. Not quite as nice with the tiny chests that are animated like this because there's a size differential, but you got to work with what's here. Can't change that. Next thing you're going to notice here is that my torches are still in ghetto-ass random places. Now, ideally you'd have more than 2 torches, but let's say you really only have 2 torches because you used 2 somewhere or lost them and you don't have any more coal. So you've got several options here, one of which is to stick them here and here. Lights up the room from the sides. It becomes like a piece of the center of the room like that. Now you could do the same deal except down here. I think that actually works better in this particular house. Completes the row, but it isn't cramped because it's not a solid block. Looks good. But my personal favorite is to put torches by doors, and it's also best in my opinion to put them at eye level. So I'd put them here. They light the whole room, not in your way, and they look good as you're going out too. Alright, so we're going to leave them there, but any of those options would really be acceptable. It's important to use symmetry. Symmetry is one of the guiding factors in this as well. Contrast, symmetry, and depth, which is also a kind of contrast. So we can pretty much simplify that to symmetry and contrast and gay-ass rain. F you. So, got this done. Since this is a nub house, this is probably all the gear they're going to have. They might have a bed. Now, let's pretend they had a bed, right? Beds will not work too good when they're up against outside walls. So in this particular house, you would have very limited choices about where to put a bed. What I would probably do is rearrange the furniture so you can put the bed near the middle of the room without it feeling cramped. But let's just say that this person doesn't have a bed, because I don't have a bed to use in the example right now, and that's just kind of common sense. Rearrange the stuff until it looks nice, keep the contrast and the symmetry going, use all the principles that I've shown you. Now if you guys can't figure out how to place a bed in a house nicely without it attacking you, I will do a little clip on that at some point in another video, because this hopefully will be an ongoing series if it gets any decent amount of attention. And hopefully it will, because I don't know about you guys, but I've never really seen a Minecraft architecture series. Alright, so next thing we're going to do is we are going to add that sunroof I mentioned earlier. Now at this point in the house development, let's say that the person built the cobble shack and they've been increasing the niceness of their house as they went along. They had some extra time, they got some logs, slapped them on the top and made a floor and all that, but they also had shelter for the first night because they just slapped down cobble. And that's pretty much a win-win situation. And that's something like I do. I use the materials I have, build a house, and then I expand the house as necessary and upgrade the house as I can. That house down there that you see started out as a ring of cobble or a whole platform of cobble on the ground. And then I started putting bricks around the cobble because I had some bricks. And then I decided to cut out the cobble out of the middle of that, and so on and so forth, and eventually it turned into this. Now that happened over like the course of a real life week. I did not just sit down and build that. That's not how it happens. At least not for me. Alright, so you gotta get up there, otherwise you can't put the stuff down. Now, as hopefully all of you know, the glass is made from sand. Takes a piece of sand plus fuel in a furnace, make glass. Person who's a nub, sand right by their house. They could use their hands, punch the sand up, good to go. Use wood if they have no other available fuels. So this is well within the reach of a nub, as long as they have some basic Minecraft knowledge. So now we're going to knock out this middle part of the roof like I was talking about. It's only 6 pieces, which means they need less than a coal. You could use, I think, 6 wooden plank things, or 12 sticks, or a couple other combinations of fuel. Or you can actually make charcoal, which is a pretty good option for noobs, but they don't usually think of that for some reason. So anyway, only 6 blocks of glass are required to make this roof. From the top it already looks nicer. Makes no difference from ground level. But when you walk inside, it makes it feel even more open and airy, and if it wasn't pouring rain horrible, it would be a lot brighter in here. to the point where the torches wouldn't even be doing anything in the daytime. So yet again, adding a small amount of blocks made the house better. Only 6 more blocks, poof, sunroof, better lighting, more open feeling. You can also tell whether it's day or night and raining or not without having to squeeze your eyes through this thing, which not every pack even has. Nor does every pack have it at eye level. I was very careful about that because it frustrated me to try and look through crap. And if you do see the house from a higher angle, you can tell that the sunroof is there, and it does look aesthetically appealing. So at this point, we've gone from a cobble box up to like a high-class, high-brow box. Now, we've got symmetry and such going on the outside, but let's say it doesn't feel right to you. Let's say that you feel like the top has a lot of wood and the bottom doesn't. Now, what we're going to do to fix that, if that was bugging you, or if it wasn't, you just want to try something else. Now, keep in mind, not every single thing has to be applied to every single building. I'm going to stick some wood blocks in the bottom corners. Doesn't change the number of bricks in the house, or blocks in the house rather. However, it changes these from looking like a Y with the door to looking like pillars and a crossbeam. And what that does is it makes the house look even more stable. And you'll probably also notice that instead of looking like these are like spikes coming out, it makes them look like they are walls, like borders. Makes them feel like these two sides are pushed out more than they were before because there's more contrast going on, more depth. These things are all subliminal. You don't really notice them. Like, you don't look at the house and go, this has good depth. You just look at it and go, this looks like really powerful and cool. Now over here, personally, I take like over here we have a block back, block forward, wood, block forward. Make sure all the sides match. Back, forward, wood, forward. So they do. But something looks off to me here. And I think it's because this side has the door, adding a little bit more contrast in the middle. You can't do that on this side. Somebody might choose to expand their house 1 block outward and not add a door, but add like a wooden block where the door would have been. Expand the roof a little bit, whatever. Get a little bit more space in the house. But our noob, example character, does not need that. He doesn't care. So as you can see, the house looks even better now. All we did was change 4 more blocks. And it's getting to the point of complexity where it's not even a cobble box at all. It has cobble and it's box-ish, but it's not a cobble box. It's got a lot more stuff going on. Now, there's more variety you can do here. No, I don't have an axe anymore. Well, that's going to be an annoyance. Let's say you never did this middle row of wood. Or let's say you did and then you decided you didn't want it. There are more options. Note that I'm leaving the corners. From the inside of the house and from most of the outside, the corners are irrelevant. From the inside, it's completely irrelevant because this block and this block are all you'll see. So I'm going to knock out all these cross beams. With my lack of axe, I will beat the crap out of them with wooden planks. I should probably look behind me now. Silent. I do not trust this. Come on. I probably should have just walked down there and gotten the axe, but for some reason I'd rather wait than walk, even in a game. Actually, in real life, I'd be more apt to walk than wait. It's rather ironic. I guess it's because I'm already sitting down in real life while I'm on the game. Now, while the house is like this, I can take the opportunity to look at the fail as I place blocks in front of my face. I have terrible problems with like subliminally right-clicking for no good reason, not even thinking about it, just happens. Alright, so while this is like this, take the opportunity to look at the structure of the house more. Big columns still looks imposing. You could put glass here, for example, and have a see-through house. Now, in the front, I think that would not look very good. You definitely would want wood or stone next to the door. You might put glass here or here, but I would not advise it. Or you could put cobble all around here where it used to be before, and rely on the pillars and the floor on the inside to do contrast. What I think the best idea is, though, is to swap out some materials for glass. Now I like to have wood next to wood, so I'm going to put these here. And I'm going to put these here and see how good that looks. And that's a little bit iffy to me. I think maybe we'll stick with the original design for this one wall, which you can do. Not every side has to look identical, especially since one side has a door and the others do not. Alright, now our torches fell down when we tore that stuff down, but the same spot they were in before is back, so stick them in there. Lights up the whole place real nice. Now, obviously this person would have to go out and dig some more sand, but that's not the toughest task in the world, as I said before. How did I plan the amount of glass this well? Alright. So as you can see, immediately it makes the house feel way more open. Before it felt open vertically because of this, now it feels open horizontally and vertically. So this house probably feels like it's 10 blocks in any given direction when it's 4 or 5. And that is a good thing to do, because it makes you feel less cramped, feel happier, and you get more stuff done, don't feel like rage quitting as hard, don't get as bored. All kinds of good reasons to do it. And only 2 torches lights the whole place. And during the day, even brighter. Anyway, I've said these things. Now, why does this look good? It looks good because it gives you the outside to look at, which creates an illusion of depth. If this was part of your house out there, you could see that the wall moves, and you see the outside move with it at a different rate, which is an obvious effect. But you don't think about it when you're making a house usually, at least not unless you know what you're doing real close. And actually, I don't even think about this exact thing. I just do some stuff because I know it works, regardless of why, and now I'm explaining the concepts. But that's why this looks big. You move, the house moves, out there moves at different speeds, and it feels like you're kind of outside at the same time as you're being inside, which makes it feel more open. You'll also notice that I've got some contrast going on. Lightest, light, lightest, light, dark. Got more levels of contrast going on than before. And on this side, this wall's different. And I failed. Alright, now there's another thing going on here. I've got the wood outside in the columns, still in the same place. And it sits there in the glass and shows through. That provides some more contrast. And it provides a depth illusion, like I was talking about before, where it moves with the glass, and where it contrasts with these materials, all that, and provides like a focal point when you're near the corners. If you put glass there, it would make the house look unstable, like it should just crush all the glass all at once. This, however, makes it look like it could hold itself up, or at least has a chance of holding itself up. And that is important. If your house does not look feasible, at least to a degree, it's going to look non-aesthetically pleasing. It's just going to look ridiculous. Oh, good. Stupid ass rain's done finally. Let's look at it from the outside. First I'm going to make sure that nothing's camping me. Alright, looks safe. Now look at this. Now personally, I'm not a big fan of glass in houses. However, I do like the back window. The side windows, however, feel a little bit like overkill to me. So, several things you could do here. You could change the windows, say make them this block, this block, this one, this one, this one, this one, and even expand these and make it be like a strip of glass around the side. That would be pretty cool. Same amount of blocks, or at least very close to it. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to eliminate these windows because I've decided that I don't like the side windows, and not being the most clever nub, our character is just going to get rid of them. So what's he fall back on? He falls back on the strip of wood, like he did in the front. And you still get that illusion of openness, but not quite as much. It still feels pretty big, but only in one direction, which can be a good thing actually, to have the snug feeling. You just don't want too much of it. So now it feels like you're safe because you got a big wall behind you, but when you're working you can see outside and it feels kind of open. It's kind of the best of both worlds. Plus you got your sunroof going on, which is always nice. Now let's look at that from the outside. Now the wood paneled areas look real good, so I imagine that returning them on the two sides will look good as well. Yes, that does. That looks quite good. And the window adds yet more contrast. And since this side's different with its door, and its wood panel now, and this side's different, you've got symmetry this way, but not this way. Now you don't need symmetry on every axis. What you do need is symmetry on at least one, preferably two axes. And we have that. Other than this wall and this wall, the whole building is symmetrical this way. If you exclude the final block, if you cut it down the middle this way, it is identical except for these two pieces of furniture, but they're the same color, so it's pretty damn close. And yeah, that's pretty much it. You got like 1.5 axes of axes. I don't know what the correct plural for axis is. I think it's axes of symmetry. Symmetry. Let's go get some more torches because I would like to stick those roof. Oh my God! Hello. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. Bah. 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 Give me that XP. Alright, now also the sunroof and the window both push light outwards from the inside of the house, helping to light the outside, which is also good. And to finish that lighting, you can do something like this. Now, these torches are not for aesthetic purposes. They do not look absolutely beautiful or really help the house in any way. They do add a little tiny touch of light, which you could turn into something aesthetic, or if you like how this looks, you could say it is an aesthetic touch. Personally, I don't think it looks very good that way. Were I going to use torches, I would either, I think I would put them either here and here on each column, or here and here. But we don't have that many torches for our noob character, so he did this. Plus that looks alright, there's nothing wrong with that. As long as the house under the torches looks good, to be quite honest, and as long as you space the torches evenly to not fuck up the symmetry. Pop inside. Also, some of the light leaks back in from up there, and helps to light the inside even more. Looks good. So at this point, our noob guy probably has some iron going on. He's probably got iron tools, a little bit more material, leather armor maybe, that sort of stuff, and he has more materials available to him. Alright, so anyway, as I was saying, this guy's probably got iron stuff now. He's not as hurt for materials because he can go outside and grab a few things real quick with his iron tools, whatever. And he's situated, so he doesn't feel like he has to hurry like crap. He can grab stuff over the course of a few Minecraft days, maybe sleep in a bed, which he doesn't have yet, but so at this point, the house is acceptable. Person doesn't have to upgrade it. It looks fine. In fact, a couple stages back, it looked fine. You didn't have to, but it's good to continue to upgrade your house as you upgrade yourself in like status. As you get more things, you should keep making your house nicer. So, what can this guy do? What can he do to make it nicer? Now, the answer is what I call detailing. And what that is you take the house is done structurally. Not going to change that really. What we're going to do is we're going to add little tiny details that help make the house look nicer. Now, for example, we've got a hard edge between the outside terrain and the house itself. Now, that might be what you're going for in some cases, or it might not. But let's add a front yard. Now, what should we do with that front yard? First off, we'll just put the fence down, because fences are important. You want to go outside in the front yard, leave your house, be able to look around without getting the crap kicked out of you. Now, it's bad about creepers. You walk outside, if you see creepers, get the hell back in, unless you have a big front yard, and this is not going to be. It's going to be a simple one. Now, fences now connect to buildings, which is actually pretty cool for designs. I'll make that one more. Alright, so now they've got like a little front yard going on. House looks even nicer, looks a little bit more complex. Get some proper torches going. You can now stick torches on top of things. That adds a nice God damn it. I gotta stop doing that. Adds a nice depth effect, or if you walk around, the torches move at a different rate than the house. Makes the house seem bigger, more important. Little subliminal things like that go a long way when you add them all up. This house looks pretty powerful and like proper for such a small hut. Even when you walk inside, it seems kind of regal. I don't know. So, this is kind of plain. Not a very complex front yard. Doesn't really have to be. What you could do is maybe put a farm thing here, 1 or 2 blocks wide. That's one option. The magical made-up person who has iron tools and whatnot easily has access to enough coal to make smooth stone and thus also stone bricks. So he has a couple choices when he's making this path. It's only 4 blocks long. However, you could make it 5 blocks long, and you could extend it and make walkways around and get all complex with it. But we're just going to make a nice little 4-block walkway. No, we'll make it 5-block walkway. Still simple though. First thing we'll investigate is what does it look like with the cobbles. Now, keep in mind the grass will be here again. That looks pretty good. It helps to illustrate like the path. The path helps to illustrate the path, guys. But that is what it does. It makes things seem more ordered and more lined up, more symmetry going on. Split the fence in half more. But the cobble is a little bit boring, and it's not very contrasted with the house. Now, there's 2 different options here with these stone bricks. The first option is put them on the new part. Now, personally, I'm thinking that doesn't look that good. So I'm going to dig these back up, which takes way too long, even with my diamond efficiency 1 pick. And we're going to put the cobble back. Now the other choice is to switch the house materials. Now, what I'm thinking is perhaps a mix of materials. Perhaps the bottom row. The foundation per se. Okay, that's what we'll do. Top row, the frame around the window will stay how it is, which still shows up there, creating contrast, and it matches this, and yet now you've got 3 different materials going on, and these are not that much more expensive, but this player can afford it. Plus, this is stronger by a lot, and it will be much more explosion resistant, etc. Now, at this point, you'd want to continue around the house, keep changing crap over to the new material, and so that is pretty much the whole thing. Now, obviously, I did not replace all the materials around the side, but I think you guys get the idea. Point is, and basically I'll just go over what we did here. Go from a cobble box to other things. Sometimes it's easier to upgrade your house as you go. That works. Alright. Things to worry about are contrast, first and foremost, symmetry, second, and lighting, depth effects, which is part of the contrast. And you got to make sure it looks good on the inside and the outside without compromising either of them. Make sure it seems open enough. Don't crowd yourself with low ceilings and no open areas. And well, windows don't have to be mandatory. I made a house over there in that pit. No windows at all, still seems spacious, but I had a way higher ceiling, and that helps to alleviate that. Plus I had inset walls. So I would probably continue replacing the walls on this thing and leave this up as a guest house, because that'd be nice. Alright, so hope this helped you guys learn some basics of how to build in my style, or at least how I approach building. If you guys didn't know how to build at all before, then I hope you guys learned at least a little bit. And if you did, I hope you guys enjoyed learning about my style. There will be more in this series if there is a decent amount of interest shown. And remember the points I went over? And hopefully you guys will build a lot nicer things. Or at least learn some new techniques for the things you already build nicely. Yushatak signing out. Please rate, subscribe, favorite, all that crap that I shouldn't have to ask for, but I probably do because I don't get enough. TYVM signing out. Lullaby.